Anyways, so this is the point. Obviously, he's the neo-Nazi. He's got the swastika in his eyes. The point being now
is not. The swastika was in India thousands of years ago.
But it's been associated. But it's now associated with fascism.
No, it's still an Indian and Buddhist symbol.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's actually Hindu.
It's an Indian and Buddhist symbol.
It's Hindu. It's Hindu.
It's an Indian and Buddhist symbol.
Anyways, so what we were saying right now is this, guys. Guys, it's time to be mature. It's time to be mature. London is a multicultural city. The Muslims are here. Look, there are 30 million Muslims. There are 30. Okay, thank you. 30 million people are here in the EU that are Muslim. There are 30 million Muslims in the EU. Now the question is this, not about 30 million, 25 million in the EU countries. I'm not talking about Turkey and these countries, yeah? We're talking about EU countries, about 25, according to Pew, 25 to 30 million Muslims exist in the EU. Now let's just, for the sake of argument, let's agree with Tommy. What are you saying there? Yeah, let me say it one more time. Let's agree with Tommy there's a Muslim problem.
Yes, there are.
Yes, let's agree with Tan, there's a Muslim problem. Yes. Just like there was a Jewish problem. Yeah. Yes, just like there was a Jewish problem, now there's a Muslim problem as well. Let's agree. Let's agree. Let's agree, no problem. So what we're going to do? What we're going to do? What we're going to... No, hold on, what did you say? Let me say it one more time. What are we going to do? Because the thing is, if you believe in concepts like absolute freedom of speech, and if you believe in concepts like absolute freedom of expression, so long as there is no harm done in society, and there are Muslims living amongst you, the moment you start saying, let's have different rules for those minorities, then you should have for the majority is the moment.
Sharia.
It's the moment. It's the moment.
Sharia has different rules.
That's a different conversation. It's the moment. It's the moment. It's the moment you have become neo-fascistic. It is the moment because there's a difference. What is fascism? Guys, what you have to understand. The question is, guys, what is fascism? Here, what's fascism? Look, fascism is when you prioritize the nation state over above individual liberties. That's what fascism is. So this idea, I know there's economic and political fascism. We understand this authoritarianism. And I know that Tommy Robinson and the ultra-right are not espousing that kind of a fascism. But they are saying this. There's a Muslim problem. Now, the moment they start making policy recommendations is the moment they will invariably, inevitably have to start being discriminatory in their reasoning. And the moment they start being discriminatory to the Muslim minorities over and above any other group of people is the moment they have embraced a fascistic logic over and above a liberal framework. That's why.
They just want Muslims to be treated the same.
Perfect. If that's the case, we don't have beef. If that's the case, we're all in the same boat. Thank you, my friend. We like it. It's a law enforcement issue. If you have, like Hindu, no beef. Thank you. You see? So that.
No beef. Hindu.
Anyways. So you see, this is it, guys. You know what's really interesting, guys? Wait a minute. Let me tell you what I find really interesting. I want to ask Tommy a question when he comes here.
I'll ask him.
But I'm not going to ask him to MMA fight because, you know, I'm not going to do that. I've done it. He's seen it. He's rejected it. We move on.
Good. Take that silly hat off his order. Take that silly hat off.
No, I'm not going to do it. All right. Cool. Don't worry. I'm not going to go down that route today. I'm not going to do it. Okay. What am I going to ask Tommy? I'm going to ask him. No, I've already asked him that.
Sure.
He doesn't want to, and it's not fair. Frankly, it's not fair. Yeah. It's not fair. Unless it's 2 versus 1 or something.
No.
Which can be arranged.
I haven't got a problem with that.
I'm only joking. Now, what would I ask Tommy? I would okay, if I agree with Tommy. What happened? Mohammed Hijab, you agreeing with Tommy Robinson? Okay, yeah, I agree. Tommy, we agree. Okay, we know what? We've been looking at the stats. We've seen your argument. And we agree, Tommy Robinson. We agree with you, Tommy. There's a Muslim problem, for the sake of argument. Now, what we're going to do with Muslims? If you've come here, Tommy, you've come here to talk about freedom of speech and freedom of expression. If you believe that Muslims, like any other group, deserve freedom of speech and freedom of expression, the moment you start saying shut down mosques and immigrate them, then what you've done is you've gone against the premise. The premise of freedom of speech and expression.
I agree.
So that's what we say. We say that if you have, if you have if you have an issue with Muslims, then let's make it an issue of law enforcement. Muslims, they are grooming gangs. They are. I agree. Okay, no problem. There are things that are happening in my community.
To Sikhs as well.
Exactly.
So
no, fair enough. There are things that are happening in my community which we're really unhappy about. There is an increase in terrorism. There is an increase in extremism. There is an increase in these things. There are. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Seriously. Because Islam, according to Pew Research, in 2100, 1 out of 3 people in the world will be Muslim. Do you know what that means, guys? That if you meet everyone in the world and you meet everybody, every 3rd person you meet will be a Muslim in our grandchildren's lives. Okay? So when we're looking at sociological statistics, yeah, you'll find trends with Muslims. You'll find trends with blacks. Wait a minute, what did you say? Kamit? No, I'll tell you one more time. You'll find trends with blacks. If you look at knife crime, on the face of it, sociologically, it might seem that black people are overrepresented in jails and knife crime. It might be the case that if we look at Jewish communities, that integration is also a so-called problem, according to... If you look at X community, Y community... But this is what we say. We say, look, this is not a problem of race, and this is not a problem of religion. It's an issue of circumstance. The reason why black people are more likely to commit knife crime is not because they're intrinsically, predisposed to that. It's because of circumstance, because of the history of what they've been through. And the same thing with Muslims. Look at foreign policy. What Robert Pape said in his book, Dying to Win, is fundamentally important. He said the reason why there has been an increase in terrorism and suicide bombing is because of foreign policy. That's his position. He's one of the most renowned academics. And by the way, he said that suicide bombing was more for Hindus than it was for Muslim groups. And he done a large-scale sociological study and produced probably the longest record. So what we're saying is this: why do we have to label? The moment you start saying this is a Muslim problem, a black problem, a Sikh problem, a Jewish problem, is the moment we realize now you have an agenda. You start having an agenda. So here, that's where neo-fascism is used as a label, because now you're overemphasizing certain motifs, certain themes and motifs, and in order to suppress certain minority groups. That's why it's called neo-fascism. The difference between a neo-fascist,
looks educated now. The
difference between a neo-fascist, right, and a liberal who believes in free speech and freedom of expression is this distinction. It's a fine line. It's a fine line. I can't understand the language you're speaking.
I'm speaking Chinese.
Good.
Yes. We don't have Muslim problem. We have Muslim problem in the whole world.
Okay.
We don't have Sikh problem in the whole world.
No problem.
We don't have Hindu
Okay.
problem in the whole
Yes,
world.
yes. Anyways. Yes. So the point is this, guys. The point is, what I want the crowd to do today, what I request the crowd, people like my friend or gentleman here, what's your name again? Bert. And the rest of the people, we the Muslim community, look, I have to be honest with you, right? We have grievances. Yes, we have grievances, yeah. We want to express those grievances in places like this. He's come here, do you know what he said in a video, Tommy Robinson? He said that, Tommy Robinson said in a video, he said that this place has become like a mosque because we pray in the corner, you know. And he's not happy with the fact that Muslims are expressing themselves in the context of Speaker's Corner. You know why? Because there's been huge successes.
As a regular,
but
there's a problem with free speech here, and you know
I know, Raj. You're right.
You know that.
I agree, Raj. But what I was going to say is this. We know, this is the point. The moment neo-fascists see people of a minority complexion, let's say, start taking advantage of the same rights that they don't want them to take advantage of, they start labeling them. Oh, yes, yes. Go on. Okay, let's talk about that.
Come in the middle, come in the middle.
Good, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. No, that's good. No, leave him, leave him. Now, thank you for that. It's a good contribution. People are saying that Muslims are a protected group. Thank you very much. Now, do you know one of the things that Tommy Robinson said? I was reading his Twitter and I found this abhorrent. No, I'm going to come to what you said. Oh, thank you, sir. No, seriously, I'm here to educate and address your concerns. No, I will talk about it. Fine. Okay. Fine. Thank you, sir. All right, fine. I'll address what you said. We believe maybe you're right. Maybe there is an issue of what you've just said. Yeah. Okay. No problem. But we would say those. Look, if you're talking about Muslims,
right.
yes, maybe.
Right group.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. But what I was gonna say was this. Look, listen, guys. Seriously. If we're talking about Muslims
I love rice.
as a world population, look at the Rohingya in Burma. Do you know what Tommy Robinson said about the Rohingya in Burma? I'll come to it, my friend. Just give me a second. Give me a second. What he said about the Rohingya in Burma, and it's on his Twitter. I'll put it on the description. We'll put it on the description. He said that the Rohingya, the so-called persecuted Rohingya, are actually terrorists. The UN has said about the Rohingya that they're the most persecuted individuals in the world because of what they've been through. Now, when you can't see injustice when it's right in front of your eyes, and you're willing to kind of overgo that in order to push and peddle this neo-fascistic agenda, that's when I think you've lost your humanity. How could you? How could he? How dare he? How would he? How could we stand this? That we're talking about all these people being killed. We're talking about all of these people being butchered and exiled from their homeland. And then he would say that they're so-called persecuted minority and they're actually terrorists. I went to Cox's Bazar. I went to the border with Burma and I met the women. I met the women who had seen their children being killed and persecuted and thrown into fires. Are these terrorists as well? I mean, this is where people have lost their humanities. It's called collective guilt. It's another principle by which and through which neo-fascists attempt to capture the agenda. Because it's freedom of speech. I can speak about neo-fascists. So this is what they use, collective guilt. That's why they burned the Jews. That's why they burned the Jews. That's why they're burning the Burmese. That's why they're burning the Rohingya. And that is the agenda that this man wants to bring to this country.
Who, Tommy Robinson?
Yes.
No, he doesn't.
Okay, that's your opinion. That's my opinion. This is my opinion. Yes.
I don't agree with the racists. There are real racists, yeah. Generation Identity, I spoke to them last week. They want to get rid of all the Muslims from Europe. I don't agree with that madness.
Good, excellent.
Yeah,
so that's fine.
I confronted them. I said, how are you going to get rid of them?
Well, I'm not. With respect, I don't want to talk about your views here.
But can I say something? You're accusing Tommy Robinson, yeah, of being a fascist and a racist.
I didn't say racist. Right now, I just used the word fascist.
He's not though.
I've used the word fascist because this is what I think. You have to understand something about. Perfect. So the word fascism comes from the word fascis, which means to bundle something up, and it entails prioritizing the nation over and above the individual. And now what this means is, and this is something very, very common in the discourse of these neo-fascist ultra-right wing. They will use motifs and language of war and combat and over-patriotism and over-nationalism in order to discriminate against those minority groups. This is what we say. Now what George Orwell said is that the more society drifts away from the truth, the more it will hate people who speak the truth. And that's why the Prophet Muhammad also said, he said that one day the Muslims will be in a position where they'll be the strangers, the outcast. And this is the reality, guys. Now, if it's me now, I'm not a white man. And I'm not, I don't want to assimilate. Of course I don't. Why would I want to assimilate? I don't want to be, I don't want to assimilate. There's a difference between economic integration and social assimilation. You go to America, you ask a black man where he's from, he will tell you, I'm an African American. If you go to a black man in our country here in Britain, where is he from? He not only will tell you, I'm from Nigeria, he'll tell you I'm Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, because he is in touch with his roots. I don't want to assimilate with the society to the extent which I don't know myself. I know who I am. I'm a Muslim and we are Muslims. And this is what we believe in. Okay? But the idea is this, coexistence. How do we coexist? Now you have to understand something. Islamically, I will tell you that the Quran very clearly says in chapter 2, verse 256, لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي. I'll tell you what that means. It means that there is no compulsion in religion. We don't force people to be. There's no compulsion in religion. It says لكم دينكم ولي دين. You have your religion and we will have our religion.
You don't understand. That's why you should do us a courtesy. If I
I've translated it. Yeah, sorry. He said, "Lakum dinukum waliya din," which means you have your religion and we have our religion. We do believe in coexistence. You have to understand that the moment you accept the narrative that Muslims do not accept harmony and coexistence, even though it's patently clear and a matter of consensus among the Muslim jurists, even if you don't worship one God.
What did Muhammad do to the people, the polytheists?
I'm telling you what the Quran says directly, right? In chapter 2, verse 256, it says, "La ikraha fi din." If you're with me, I'm telling you now. Okay, let me tell you what the Quran says first, because that's the book of the Muslims. The Quran says in chapter 2, verse 256, there is no compulsion in religion.
But there's a death penalty in the hadiths. So which one is it?
What are you talking about?
In the Quran it says no compulsion in religion.
Yes, go on.
But there's a death penalty
For who?
under Sharia.
Death penalty for
apostasy.
You're talking about apostasy now. No,
But-
I'm
but you
talking.
said there's no
hold
compulsion in
on.
religion.
Hold on.
But how can you
Compulsion.
believe-
Hold on.
If you
Raj,
can't believe a
please.
religion, then there must
Raj,
be compulsion.
right now,
Yeah.
right now. Thank you very much. That's
you
a very.
need to- you
it's
need
a
to
good.
clarify
Let me
that.
clarify that. Thank you very much. No compulsion in religion specifically refers to non-Muslims, Jews, Christians, etc. We don't force them to be Muslims. As for Muslims, they have the same thing in a sense. In the West, if a Muslim doesn't want to become a Muslim, what's going to happen to him? Nothing's going to happen to him. So the point is, we're saying this: we believe in harmony, and we believe in coexistence, and that's what the message that we want to put forward today. If you accept this message and move away from that neo-fascistic message, then there can be generations of coexistence. Otherwise, it won't work. All right? Jazakumullah khairan.
Stick to this road, man.